I spotted my son's car and thought it'd be fun to surprise him on his birthday, so I slipped into the back seat with his gift. Minutes later, he got in with someone who whispered, "Don't worry, your mother won't bother us anymore." When I leaned forward and saw who it was, my heart stopped. It all started on March 15th, my son Marcus's 35th birthday. I was so excited to surprise him. Picture me, a 63-year-old grandma type, crouched in the back seat of his Honda Civic, clutching a chocolate cake from Henderson's Bakery, his favorite since he was a kid. I'd been waiting there for 20 minutes, giggling to myself like some sneaky teenager pulling a prank. The plan was perfect. I'd pop up when he got in, yell, "Happy birthday," and we'd laugh and eat cake together, just like old times. My heart was full, thinking about the look on his face when he saw me. Then I heard footsteps. I ducked lower, barely containing my grin. The driver's door opened and Marcus slid in. But he didn't start the car. Another door opened, and a woman's voice cut through the air like a knife. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. I froze. I knew that voice, Vanessa Brooks, Marcus's business partner. The same Vanessa I'd helped him hire 2 years ago when I lent him $30,000 to grow his marketing firm. I thought she was just his colleague, maybe a friend. I was about to pop up and say something when Marcus's voice stopped me cold. "Positive," he said, his tone sharp, nothing like the warm, loving son I knew. "The old bat signed everything over to me after Dad died. Power of attorney, beneficiary changes, the works." She was so grateful for my help with the paperwork. The old bat? That's what he called me. His mother. The woman who raised him, who stayed up nights helping him with algebra, who cried with him when his dad, my Frank, passed 3 years ago. My hands shook, the cake box trembling in my lap. I couldn't breathe. What paperwork? What changes? And the house? Vanessa asked, her voice smooth, like she was discussing a business deal. Marcus chuckled, a sound that made my skin crawl. "Already in my name. She doesn't even know." I told her it was just updating the deed for tax purposes after Dad's death. My house. The house Frank and I built 41 years ago, where we raised Marcus, where we laughed and fought and dreamed. The house I'd poured my heart into, now in his name? I felt like I was falling, like the world was slipping out from under me. But it got worse. "Your pathetic mother won't be a problem much longer," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with contempt. "Once we're married, we'll put her in Sunset Manor. She'll be grateful for the company." Married? My son was engaged, and I had to learn it hiding in his car like some kind of spy. Sunset Manor, a nursing home. "The costs will eat up whatever's left of her savings pretty quickly," Marcus added, calm as you please. "But that's not our problem anymore." I pressed my hand to my mouth to keep from screaming. This was my baby boy, the kid who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, the son I'd sacrificed everything for after Frank died. And now he was planning to warehouse me in a nursing home while he and Vanessa spent my life savings. "What if she figures it out?" Vanessa asked. "She won't," Marcus said, so sure of himself. "Mom trusts me completely. Always has." Makes this almost too easy. The engine started, and as they drove off to celebrate his birthday, I sat there in the back seat, silent, holding a cake for a son who'd just planned to throw me away like garbage. But Marcus had made one big mistake. He underestimated me. The 20-minute ride to some fancy restaurant felt like forever. I stayed hidden, my mind racing, trying to process the betrayal. When they finally parked and walked away, I slipped out and called a taxi. Back home, I sat in my kitchen, staring at that chocolate cake. This was the same kitchen where I'd taught Marcus to crack eggs without getting shells in the batter, where we'd done homework together, where we'd grieved Frank's death. How had I missed the signs? How had my son become this stranger? The truth was, I hadn't missed them, I'd ignored them. It started after Frank's funeral. Marcus had been so helpful, so attentive. "Mom, let me handle the paperwork," he'd said. "You're grieving. You don't need the stress." I was drowning in loss, overwhelmed by insurance forms and legal jargon, so I signed whatever he put in front of me. "Just a formality, Mom," he'd said about the power of attorney. "This is for tax purposes," he'd said about the house deed. I trusted him. My brilliant, successful son, running his own company, why wouldn't I? But the signs were there. He stopped visiting unless he needed something. He got cagey when I asked about his life. Once, when I mentioned updating my will, he changed the subject so fast it gave me whiplash. And Vanessa, her fake sweetness should have been a red flag. I'd even paid for her marketing courses, thinking I was helping Marcus's business. My phone rang, snapping me out of my thoughts. Marcus's name lit up the screen. "Hi, honey," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Hey, Mom," he said, smooth as ever. "Sorry, I missed your call earlier." Vanessa and I were at dinner celebrating my birthday. The lie rolled off his tongue so easily. "Oh, that's nice, dear. How was it?" "Great. Listen, I want to talk about some financial things. Can I come over tomorrow?" My stomach dropped. "What kind of financial things?" "Just some account updates. Nothing major, but we need to handle it soon." "I'll bet," I thought. "Of course, honey. Whatever you think is best." "Perfect. I'll be there around 10. And Mom, don't worry about anything, okay? I'm taking care of everything." After he hung up, I sat in the dark, Frank's picture watching me from the mantel. My husband had always been the suspicious one, always questioning people's motives. I was the trusting one, seeing the best in everyone. "Well, Frank," I whispered, "you were right to worry about people taking advantage." But Frank taught me something else. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Marcus had shown me exactly who he'd become. Now it was time to figure out what I was going to do about it. I barely slept that night. Vanessa's voice kept echoing in my head. "Your pathetic mother won't be a problem much longer." By 6 a.m., I was up, dressed, and ready to fight. If Marcus thought I was some helpless old lady, he was about to get a wake-up call. First stop, Henderson's Bakery. Irene Henderson, my friend of 20 years, was behind the counter. "Don't tell me Marcus didn't like his cake," she said, smiling. "Actually, Irene, I need to ask you something. Has Marcus been in here with a young woman?" Blonde, early 30s, very polished. Irene's face changed. "Well, yes. Several times this past year. They seem close." "Close how?" She lowered her voice. "Holding hands, kissing. Last month, they were looking at wedding cakes." Wedding cakes. The confirmation hit like a punch, but I kept my cool. "Did he say she was his fiancée?" "I thought it was odd you hadn't mentioned it, but I figured maybe it was a surprise." "A surprise, all right. Irene, don't tell anyone we had this talk, okay?" She nodded, worried. Is everything okay?" "It will be," I said, meaning it more than I expected. Next, I went to First National Bank, where I'd been a customer for 35 years. Linda Peterson, the branch manager, greeted me warmly. "Mrs. Sullivan, what can I do for you?" "I need to see all my accounts, Linda. Every single one. And I need to know who has access." Her smile faltered. "Is there a problem?" "I hope not." What she showed me made my blood run cold. Marcus wasn't just a cosigner on my accounts, he was the primary account holder. I was listed as secondary on my own money. "When did this happen?" I asked, staring at my signature on documents I didn't remember signing. "About 18 months ago," Linda said. "You and Marcus came in together. You seemed a bit confused about the process, so he explained everything." Confused, that's what they'd call me when they shipped me off to Sunset Manor. Poor, confused. "I need copies of everything," I said. "Every document, every change, every signature from the last 3 years." As Linda printed the papers, I realized I was completely at Marcus's mercy. He controlled my money, my house, my future. But he'd made one critical mistake. He assumed I'd stay ignorant forever. Game on, sweetheart. Back home, I spread the documents across my dining room table, the same table where Marcus did his homework as a kid, where we'd celebrated birthdays, where Frank and I planned our retirement. The papers told a chilling story. Over 18 months, Marcus had stripped me of control. My savings, checking, even my CDs, all in his name. Worst of all, Frank's life insurance, meant to secure my future, now listed Marcus as the sole beneficiary. I called my old friend Ruth Miller, who'd been through her own family drama. "You sound strange." "What's wrong?" I told her everything, the car, the nursing home, the documents. Oh, honey, she said when I finished. This is elder financial abuse. It's more common than you think, and it's usually family. You need a lawyer who specializes in elder law. Document everything. And be careful. If Marcus knows you're onto him, he might move faster. Faster. Like locking me in a nursing home before I could fight back. Ruth gave me the name of an attorney, Patricia Webb. As I hung up, I looked at Marcus's senior photo on the mantle, honor roll, Eagle Scout, college grad. When had my boy become this monster? The doorbell rang at 10:30 sharp. Marcus stood there in a navy suit, briefcase in hand, kissing my cheek like nothing was wrong. I forced myself not to flinch. Coffee, honey? I asked, playing the sweet old mom. Sure, thanks. He sat in Frank's old chair, opening his briefcase. So, I wanted to talk about some changes to your financial setup. Your accounts are getting complicated. It'd be simpler if we consolidated everything into one account I handle completely. How considerate. And there's something else, he went on. Vanessa and I are getting married. Next month, small ceremony. I faked surprise. Marcus, how wonderful. We've been looking at houses, he continued. We found the perfect place, but we need capital for the down payment. I was thinking we could sell this house. It's too big for you now, and there's a lovely senior community across town. Not Sunset Manor yet, but close. This house has so many memories, I said carefully. His jaw tightened. Mom, be practical. You can't live here forever. What happens when you can't manage the stairs? I feel fine now. For now. Trust me, I know what's best. Those words, I know what's best, hit like a slap. I'll think about it, I said. His face flickered with impatience. There's not much to think about, Mom. The housing market's good now. We might miss our opportunity. Our opportunity. Like selling my home was for us. I need a few days, I insisted. Fine, he snapped, shutting his briefcase. But don't wait too long. After he left, I called Patricia Webb. 2 hours later, I was in her office, watching her review my documents. This is sophisticated, she said. Marcus planned this for months. We can challenge the power of attorney, argue you weren't competent due to grief. We can file for elder abuse. But this will destroy your relationship with him. Are you ready for that? I thought of his voice in the car, calling me pathetic. Patricia, what relationship? He decided I don't matter. Then let's make sure you do.